In May 1944, Don Johnson, along with his two sons, Buck, 17, and Byrne, 14, delivered a boat to Vic Bannister's resort on Spawn Inlet and continued on by canoe for a week through Canadian lakes and rivers. With 3 paddlers in the canoe and careful planning, they were able to make each portage in one trip. Byrne was responsible for carrying the clothing, bedding, and the cook kit. Buck carried the tent and the food pack. Don carried the canoe and a pack of personal gear. Not everything went according to plan, but the 14-year-old cameraman remained remarkably steady. Even though there was much game to be seen, not much was able to be captured on film. The trio carried no camp stoves on this trip, which meant all meals were prepared over an open fire. Their morning pancakes were inelegantly enjoyed. Buck showed off his pancake flipping skills. They also made bannock, or baking powder biscuits, with a reflector oven. After breakfast, it was time to clean up. Reindeer moss made for a good scrubber. Buck planned the group's travel plans for the day, and the tents were rolled as they broke camp. Spring fishing for lake trout in the rapids was about as good as it ever got. Spawning suckers in Weasel River gave the boys a new kind of hunting experience. While Buck waited with his knife, Byrne drove the suckers over to him. Now that their fun was over, it was time for them to hit the road once more. They ran into a coyote going for a swim, but it wanted nothing to do with them. Just one of the many beautiful waterways they experienced on their journey, and then it was time for lunch. On the Manitou Lake, joined by Carl Harrison from the Falls and a party of old friends. A seagull nest and eggs were spotted. Then they went lake trout fishing in the middle of the lake. There they were caught in a heavy downpour and all took refuge in Iceberg Camp Outhouse. They checked, but found no pot of gold under the tarp in the middle of the canoe. This was the only chance they had to find a photographer to capture the three Johnsons in their canoe. Without enough water to float the canoe, other measures were needed. Buck had to do some necessary shoe repair. It was a mile-long portage between Dogfly and Vista Lakes. The heavy rains made it worse than normal. This was Byrne's second trip through the swamp, as Don realized he needed a movie. A beaver had cut down a big tree. They set up camp on Vista Lake, certainly the prettiest lake on their trip. Here, they saw more deer. And a very unhappy snapping turtle, but not as unhappy as he would have been had they had a recipe for turtle soup. They had to maneuver the shallow stream coming out of Vista. Home at last.